Anger Me production. Today we have my daughter here with me, Maura Jade Watson, Esterbrook. We're going to talk about ghosts and supernatural stuff. And is it real?
Yeah, that's a good question. Me personally, I don't have an answer for that.
Well, it's one of those things. It's a lot of people don't feel that it is real only because they haven't seen it. A lot of people, if they haven't seen it, it's not real. But there is. I was almost going to say hundreds, but there's millions of cases of that stuff actually being real.
We'll see, and I have personally seen a lot of stuff I have no explanation for. But for me to sit there and blame it all on something that I don't understand is outside of my capability at this point. So, where I can say, I believe the probability of ghosts existing because of my first-hand experience, I have yet to determine whether or not there's another explanation.
Well, go ahead and talk about that. Because the only kind of weird supernatural thing was with one of my people that I dated when I was in the military. She was a Wiccan, and she kept on saying that she had fairies that like to hide stuff from other people, especially the people that she's with. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. I swear, I literally Velcroed something onto my stand, and it was missing.
Yeah, but you could realistically make the argument that
She didn't have a key, and she was gone for like 2 weeks. And I did it like right after she left.
Fair enough.
I did every scientific variable that I could possibly think of. And I did this, and my wallet and stuff were just gone.
That fits right into some of the other stuff I've experienced. Like, I've had cupboards that would open and close on their own. Doors that I swear up and down I locked, and they would be unlocked and half open. I saw an apparition when I was young. Me and my family went to spend the night at a old plantation farm, and we got to stay in one of the houses. I think it was the landowner house or whatever. I forget what they call it. The place was practically a mansion.
No, it's just called the plantation home.
Right, but yeah, the place was practically a mansion. It had was like a 2-story building, and then the first floor, it had 2 big double doors with a ramp leading up to them where they could literally bring their horses into the house. And then it had a living room off to one side and a kitchen on the other side of the...
Oh, wow. That's something that new on me. I've never seen. I've always thought about. No, I've heard. I can't even say that people have doors enough to where they have vehicles, but a horse. I mean, you must really love your horse.
These doors were actually big enough that they could bring a full horse and carriage assembly into the house.
Wow.
The place was beautiful. Anyways, I spent the night there. Me and my sister were relegated to spend the night upstairs, and me and my sister both saw it. The apparition of a female that was taller than both of us at the time, wearing a white flowing old style dress. She stopped at the foot of my bed, turned, and I couldn't make out any facial features or anything. It was just like a white glowing image. Me personally, I would have wrote it off as I was half asleep, but my sister saw it too.
Yeah, wow.
And then it turned like it was going to walk away, and it vanished. Now, come morning time, me and my sister were both asking the adults in the house, did any of y'all come upstairs and screw with us during the night? No, we all stayed downstairs drinking.
No, fuck that. I'd burn it too. I would burn it to cinders. I'm the type of person who's like, do you believe? I believe fire cleanses everything.
And not to
Especially
mention,
with sage.
not to mention the Tickle Me Elmo that my daughter had.
Dude, those and the Furbies. Those were known. I don't know if I mean people have taken batteries out of
But-
both of those
But
things.
we took the batteries out of the damn thing because we got tired of hearing it. And then late one night, tickle me. What the fuck? We're not checking it. And we set it someplace where it's visible, thinking maybe we were imagining things. Me and my ex.
Did you at least check to see if the batteries are gone?
Oh, we did that the next morning. No batteries. We kind of left it sit there to make sure it wasn't something screwing with our head. The next night, same fucking thing.
I would have burned it.
No batteries. It moved. It was talking. At which point, yes, my ex burned it. She took it out to the burn pile and cleansed by fire.
Yeah. Furbies are like that. So many people have. Oh, man, it's so many people just talking about. I mean, you could literally Google it on Google.
There was actually a game about like Furbies where you had to like feed it to.
But
No, we're talking about the actual. Okay, back in what was it? Early 2000s. 2005 when the Furbies came out. I think.
no, they came out much earlier than that.
2003. No, it had to be.
They
like,
came out in the 90s.
Maybe. Anyways, Furby was a little.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Okay.
Like it has a really creepy face.
Yeah. But
it's a little
there's a lot of
furry
people
creature
that's
with
took
a beak and eyeballs that would do like this.
Yeah, well, people would take the batteries out of these and they would still work.
Yeah.
Now, see, that was one thing I didn't do. I did not disassemble the Tickle Me Elmo to see if it maybe had a reserve battery somewhere that you just couldn't fucking remove.
Yeah.
Or capacitors.
Or, capacitors would have been drained after it did it the first time. We waited until it did it a second and third time.
That is true, yeah.
It
Well, it's
wasn't.
like-
We
it's
heard
like-
it one freaking time, and that
What
was
is with
it.
kids' toys? I mean, well, the whole main thing with kid toys, like the Ouija board. I mean, everybody's at least at one point in time have played with the Ouija
Not
board.
I.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't.
I
either.
have. In like a
If-
hotel where
if-
a girl hanged herself before a wedding.
See, now the funny thing there is
Don't ever play with the Ouija board. ever
Ouija
again.
boards.
I saw
Ouija
people
boards
play
were
with it.
not originally tied to cult or even witchcraft. They came out as a children's toy.
Yeah,
Now, the fact that they came out as a children's
but there's so
toy,
many there's so many stories about
And then
people
they-
doing that and demons coming up and destroying their house and the family and everything.
I personally believe that that's superstition related to religion, because the game itself was a play on talking to the spirits. A lot of your religions, or a lot of the religions we're currently familiar with, because I can't sit here and speak for Buddhism or Hinduism or Taoism or some of those others. I know that some of the Chinese areas actually respect the elder spirits, blah, 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 yada, yada. They think they're watched over by them. But you take any of the society around in this part of the United States or around any of the areas where Ouija boards are claimed to have those, the demon is possessing something. They're all in areas where religion basically states it's bad to communicate with ghosts.
I guess you're right on that, but still, I don't want to toy with the devil anyways.
Nah, my ex was close enough to that. I'm done.
Have you, in your shortness of life, since you've only been around 14 years, have you had any kind of supernatural stuff happen to you?
I mean, we did have an incense like appear like you. It was like supposed to be in the reading room, but somehow it ended up being upstairs underneath my bed. And we've also seen things like said things like when something disappears, it's like, oh, the house ate it. And also, I believe at one point, my mom she was trying to get into the house, but we have we have two doors in the front of the house. One we have a key for, and one we don't. And if that is locked in the inside, we can't get into that side of the house. That the second door was locked, but she didn't lock it. So she had to go around to the side door and unlock that.
That is weird.
I know.
Yeah, but that could also be written off as like
If you don't have a key for something, though.
a misnomer of. Well, a lot of locks have a spring mechanism allowing you to close the door if it's locked, or even if it's locked. But once you close it, it's locked to the outside. That one could technically be written off as the door got locked without anybody realizing it.
It's one of those things you have to look at the lock, really. You have to look
Yeah.
at everything.
But
It's
you
an
know,
old lock, too.
and then I'm not trying to say that it doesn't have origins, because I've had enough of those experiences myself to say I can't write them off. I can't say this didn't happen, but I can also look at the situation and say, okay, it's possible that this, and this could have occurred. But in reality, until you can test it, you don't know.
Yeah.
And also the items could be written off by the cats because we used to have a cat named Lilo. She liked to be underneath my bed.
Oh. Yeah. Cats are notorious for grabbing stuff.
Yeah.
It's almost as bad as having a monkey.
Yeah.
But
They
not
also
as
like
bad as a
chewing
raccoon.
cords for some reason.
Raccoon, I don't know.
I had
Raccoon's kind of a mix between the two.
I had a pet raccoon. Damn
These-
this thing! It would steal anything shiny. Like
Yeah, they do that.
it would get friendly with people that just came into the house just so that it could pick their pockets and steal stuff from them. And then when they figured out that it stole something from them and they wanted it back, it would like protect it, guard it, hiss at them, and
Makes me want to have a raccoon now.
I've always wanted a raccoon. They're like more thieving cats.
But that's it. It's like a theft-ridden cat.
To this day, that
And
video
they have like
No,
little
dude.
masks for them too.
Yeah, to this day, I still like that little video of a raccoon getting cotton candy because raccoons have to wash their food before they eat it. And cotton candy is basically sugar, so they washed it and it dissolved, and you just see this raccoon going.
And also they have opposable thumbs, so
Yeah.
yeah, they
You
can
know,
totally just.
my raccoon would not have done that. We raised it since we were really, really, really little, so it didn't always feel the necessity to wash its food.
Really?
So, yeah, some things it would wash. Other things, it wouldn't. So, if it were cotton candy, I guarantee if Nikki would have taken it and dunked a little in her water bowl and it disappeared, she wouldn't have even bothered past that. It would have just been... I guarantee she would have been watching, trying to figure out what stole her cotton candy, but...
Well, okay. Another thing a lot of people have is the crickety cricks of their houses or apartments and everything. Most of the time, that's just age and what do you call it?
Wood rotting.
Age and settling.
Settling and squirrels and everything.
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
just squirrels and raccoons. I got raccoons in the attic and squirrels in the walls.
Well, I had this one time. We were in an old house in Tampico, and I kept on hearing scurrying and everything. I was like, oh, okay, it's just like squirrels or a rat or something like that going up in the roof and everything. And then it started scratching and everything on a concrete floor. I was like, oh, that's just underneath my bed, and it's scaring me. Oh man, I ran out of my house.
See, I'm okay with those. Then again, I'm also the same person that's perfectly okay with the strange occurrence of you could walk halfway up the stairs in my house and stand halfway up the stairs in my house at around between the hours of midnight to 3. And if you stand there long enough, you'll hear and feel somebody coming up the stairs that isn't there.
Remind me never to go into your house about that time. I would burn down a house for that shit. I'm not kidding. I was like, huh.
I have written off a lot of the noises as the raccoons and squirrels, but the sounds that a person makes walking up the stairs cannot be replicated by squirrels.
Okay. most horror stories, or most ghost stories. I want to say horror stories, but it's more or less most ghost stories. Can't talk. Too many words in my mouth. Anyways, it's between 12 and 3. Mostly 3 o'clock. 2 to 3. That time frame after like midnight. What is
I
with that?
don't
time
It's
frame?
called the witching hour.
Yeah,
Is that
I
what
know
it
it's
is?
called. Yeah, it's called the witching hour. But usually every story that you hear about that kind of stuff and everything, it's in that time frame. It's not. It's not 4 o'clock.
I've had those experiences before where strange things happen outside of those hours, but all of the ones that I can sit there and say they were a phenomenon I could not even fathom an explanation for, that's when they happened, is between those hours. Like I said, the sounds and the feel of someone walking up the stairs that isn't there, that happens between those hours.
But you're looking at different time zones, and it's always at the same time frame.
Again,
Even in different time zones, it's usually around about 12 to 3 o'clock.
I don't
that you
have-
have those big occurrences.
I don't have any answers for it, and to be honest, I didn't even know that it was a thing.
Yeah, you can look up it. Well, I mostly see patterns. Okay, if I see a pattern going one way, and a lot of people do that, is every story you hear, the big occurrences of everything is usually between 12 and 3. It's not. You have some like before that, probably around about 9 o'clock, but it's nothing like that big. But the big stuff is between 12 and 3 for some reason.
Because, like the one I was telling about the plantation house. I know I was sent to bed as a kid, and I know it happened after I was sent to bed. And that my parents were downstairs drinking with the people who owned the place. I couldn't sit there and tell you I know what time it was, but if I wanted to correlate things in my mind, it probably happened right around between the hours of 12 and 3.
That's weird. I kind of want to research that now. I really want to research that now and get a like what's the actual purpose? Because you really are looking at different time zones happening in the same time frame on that block of time.
Yeah, I can't sit there and say that I understand it, or like the number of things that I have no explanation for that I have experienced is relatively high. I've seen coffee cups float themselves to the sink and then cause a big ass splash where they throw water out onto the floor. My mother's radio when I was a kid, you could unplug it and it would turn itself on.
How does it feel to be a man in science and not be able to explain weird stuff like that?
Oh, that's what made me interested in science. Was there's shit I can't explain, and there's shit I want to understand, and it really has pushed me toward that. There's got to be an explanation, but then as I got older, I realized I don't have the time or money to research what the explanation is.
Well, on something like that, you really can't explain it, and it's one of those instances you just can't. And there's bound to be one of these something, probably not in our lifetime, but later down on the road, is they will be able to explain it. But
Well, and I personally have come to a thought process on what it is. I'm not going to say it is a theory because, well, a lot of fact goes into making a theory. More of a hypothesis. I hypothesize that there are residual energy signatures left over. Because in this world, everything is energy. And just like you can record a signature on a magnetic medium and we use that to store data, it's not the actual ons and offs for the switches, but more of an image of the ons and offs that we're recording on that medium. And then we take and we use a special head to look at the magnetic fields on the medium to tell us where the ons and offs, or what the ups and downs in the wave frequency was that we stored an image of on that tape. What's to say that what we experience as ghosts are a phenomenon caused by a kind of storage of a portion of energy of some kind?
Yeah, but can that storage of energy, basically, since we started doing photographs, that's chemical. It's not electrical. How are you able to get like blurred images and images that aren't there, but you can film it on a camera and save those images
Well,
of like ghosts and everything?
can you honestly say that light energy, which is used to create those photographs, is any different than electrical energy?
Yeah, but you're saying, okay, say that we're filming the door, okay? We're filming the door, there's nothing there, but you're saying that, like, I mean, even cameras can't, they're not supposed to be able to catch, like, gamma rays, x-rays, stuff like that, unless it's
No.
special equipment.
I'm
And
talking
it's
about-
catching stuff like
I'm
that.
talking about, okay, whatever that energy field, if it's capable of interacting with the light a certain way, then your camera, which also records an image of that light, which is an energy field, you're basically just like you recording on that magnetic medium for your music or for your data. You're recording onto that medium for your image. You're basically making an image of the energy that's there. And no, that lens may not be able to see whatever energy field is there, but if that energy field is affecting the light that's moving through that area, then wouldn't the light moving through that area be distorted and therefore be distorted on the image that's produced by the camera?
Yeah, but still, it's one of those things we would have to go through a deep rabbit hole just to try to figure out. I mean,
Well, and I'm not saying I have it figured out. It's just what little limited research I've been able to do has led me to that conclusion.
yeah, you're absolutely right on there. But it's the understanding. I mean, how can something be invisible to the naked eye? I mean, our eyes are just basically as good as those cameras. Our eyes are actually better than our cameras in most cases.
No, those cameras are far better than our eyes.
How? Well, you're
Because-
able to switch out the nighttime and everything like that.
Because
A person's
even-
eyes can do that too.
Even if we don't perceive it in the images that are taken, that camera actually can see a degree of the infrared, see a degree of a lot of other things that we can't see.
Okay.
Yeah, but how would it see a ghost when we can't?
Yeah, exactly.
Again, the camera
And
can
this
see
is-
things
and
that
this
we
is-
can't.
And this is no, okay. I gotta disagree with you on that one, because not going off of just this camera, I'm talking about like 1890 cameras. They were still picking up those images. Those
Again.
cameras weren't that good.
Again, what you're referring to as good was still better than the human eye. And the method that they were using to record, even though our human eye couldn't possibly perceive it, was still recording all of the light that came in through the aperture. And if there was something that was distorting that light energy coming in through the aperture, it would pick up that distortion. Even if our eyes, which are not as well built, couldn't perceive it, it was still perceiving it. Moreover, our eyes are perceiving it, but our mind is filtering it out. That's what makes the camera, no matter how crappy of a camera it is, better than our eyes. Because, for one, our eyes are flawed in so many different ways. Like me, there's certain colors I have trouble seeing.
Most colors. Not some, most colors.
And there's certain shades that just don't work well with me. So I know from firsthand experience that, there are some eyes that are better than other eyes. And because, we get an inverted image and then our brain has to flip that image over. Our brain also has to edit out all of the capillaries and vessels that are in between the lens in our eye and the photon receiver in our eye. So not only does the lens invert the image and flip it upside down, which our brain has to flip right side back, our brain also has to filter out all the blood vessels and things that are in between.
Basically, what you're saying is we're technically walking on the roof.
No, technically what I'm saying is there's a lot of stuff that our eyes may pick up, but because of the way our eyes were built and the way our brains perceive the image coming from our eyes, there's a lot of stuff that's right there and we don't see it and won't see it. Because our brain says it's not there and therefore it's not there.
Okay, what about the sounds though? Okay, we have a lot of people saying. I mean, a lot of people actually record stuff. We could be recording something, and until we actually, listen to the audio and everything, we could be picking up something that we can't even hear unless we actually record it on audio.
Again, how good is human hearing versus the technology that we've come up with to record things?
Yeah.
Like, we
I
can
mean, in
hear,
most
like,
of
white noise, but the camera can't.
Well, no, the camera can hear the white noise, but the camera has a special filter to cut it out. But on the same token, I bet the camera can't hear what I'm hearing right now because it's not here. You don't hear a constant whistling in this room or any other quiet place, do you?
I mean, there's stuff going on.
No, he's talking about, what was it called?
Tinnitus.
Tinnitus, yeah.
That.
Yeah, you can hear like a sound. It's because if you get like hearing damage, you get a constant hearing. But no, what I'm actually talking about is stuff like it is white noise, but it has a different name for it.
Well,
and you can't. And they've been able to pick this up off of like recording off of record players.
Well, and again, this is what I'm trying to say.
Or recorders from back in the day.
Those sounds can be recorded, and then you can go back in to the recording, and you can selectively remove the overlaying noises until you get to the layer of sound that you want to listen to. Our minds, on the other hand, I guarantee if you walk into a crowded room where there's 100 people, and those 100 people are all having conversations of their own, so say you've got 50 groups of 2 people all having a conversation of their own, and they're doing so quite loudly, you're going to have trouble discerning what each individual conversation is, unless you're either right on top of that conversation and focused on it,
Yeah.
or unless you edit out all the other conversations.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what do you hear when you walk into that room?
Because you can just ignore all the sounds. So.
Your brain does the same thing with noise that it does with light. Anything that it can't put together to make coherent, it literally tunes it out. So you know that there's a noise there, but you don't understand anything more than I see that as a noise until your brain can make it coherent.
Okay, but what about the supernatural occurrences like the Chupacabra, the Jersey Devil, Bigfoot?
Oh.
Any of the SCPs.
And any of the actual ones that they actually said there actually is a manifestation of that creature.
I would...
I mean, most of the time it's just stories, but other times there's actually
would,
documentations. And
I would gladly say that I have no problem in the idea that those creatures exist. But if those creatures exist, there should be some evidence of their existence. Where does it go poo in the woods? Show me its footprints. Where does it bury its dead brothers?
Or Nessie is Loch Ness Monster.
Or it could just be
Let's dredge the Loch Ness. I guarantee if Nessies are down there, there's some Nessie skeletons, or at least a portion of a Nessie skeleton under there somewhere. Those things can be physically proven.
What was that more?
Or it could just be a side illusion or be seen as another creature.
Yeah. Well, the Loch Ness Monster, I think I know the Bigfoot film from like the 70s. They actually said it was just a guy in a suit. And there's still people, there's like, no, even the people that filmed it and did the joke said, no, we were messing with you. It was just a guy in a suit. Ha ha ha. But there's people out there that's like, even if they heard that, they still like, no, Bigfoot's real. It is seen in the video. I just told you that was my friend Bob
in a
Bigfoot suit walking around. No, Bigfoot's real. That film proves it. The film's fake. But
I'm not saying that. If you tell me the film is fake, the film is fake. If you tell me the film is real, prove it. But here's what I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna say that Bigfoot isn't real, because I have no evidence one way or the other. If I wanted to find out if Bigfoot was real, I would go searching the areas where Bigfoot supposedly exists, because Bigfoot has supposedly existed.
I seriously doubt that, because I know we're both lazy.
I said if I wanted to. You know that being lazy part? It really does kind of override the want to do many things.
Yeah. Let's find Bigfoot. Do we have to get off the couch? Yes. Count me out.
Oh, I have to step outside in the sunlight. Oh, no.
It's part lazy and part, do I have to be around people I'm not familiar with? If I have to run across some crazy tourist that doesn't speak English, I'm gonna go schizophrenic.
See, there was another thing. I was like, most houses, like the Amityville Horror House, like the walls bleeding and everything. I want to know how a lot of that stuff actually happens. Because if you think about it, the walls bleeding could be the wood itself.
I don't remember exactly, but I've heard a few quasi-scientific explanations. And I've heard that some of those areas are actually magician's tricks. Yeah. Somebody's doing it on purpose, and they're literally tricks that are set up in such a way that the audience doesn't perceive that they're being conned.
Yeah. Well, you got a lot of people do. Well, most of the ghost shows, literally, I was listening to a lot of the producers of those shows and everything. They literally go back and do it certain ways and everything. So none of the actual ghost stories, like what is it, Ghost Hunters? Yeah, Ghost Hunters. The Travel Channel had a ghost show for a while there, but all of them, they actually gone through, and none of that stuff was real. That's one thing that you can't understand it, is because it was more or less fake to begin with, but there's actual legitimate stuff happening on certain
and
places. I mean, they had a big, I forget, man, I wish I could remember the Air Force base that it was. It was a missile base.
Were you the one that we were watching that one ghost show? Was it you and someone else? And I was pointing out that, that's bullshit. And he says, well, why? And I told him, because that's an infrared camera. And if you're talking about a ghost, and you're talking about an energy signature, wouldn't you, in all technicality, not be seeing a positive energy signature, but a
But it's a
negative
negative
energy
energy
signature?
signature. Yeah.
And if it's a negative energy signature, why is it showing up as hot on an infrared
Yeah.
instead of cold?
Yeah. Because every story that you hear, if there's any kind of ghost or anything, it gets a lot colder in the room.
Right. But on all of those ghost
Which I wish I had a ghost constantly here, because my
Boy,
electric bill would
would
be
be.
down so bad, especially
Just
in
like a
Texas.
ton of
I
ghosts.
think what
ghosts
happens
for
in
hire.
Texas, though, I think
Please
all the
keep my
ghosts go
house
north.
cold.
It's like, man, it's too hot in here. I can't even do this. We're going north.
And then it gets hot in the summer.
Yeah.
This is a different kind of heat, sweetie.
Yeah, it's humid.
Okay. Well,
I can live with the humidity. I'm used to the humidity.
120 degrees.
But at 120 degrees, no. You can keep that 120 degrees. Let me have 80 and 90 humidity, where everybody else is going, oh, it's so hot, it's humid. I'm going, it is. I've lived in like 120 degree weather. Where is this hot? Here. I feel good again.
Oh, man.
Still, put up flyers. Goes for hire. Just keep my house cold.
Yeah. Why is your electric bill so good? Oh, it's haunted. They move things around all the time. I think one of them raped me. Not really sure.
But hey, my house is very cold.
Yeah.
I think she was cute, but I don't know because I can't see her face.
I tried taking pictures of her, but
Well,
she's
it's because
camera
you can't.
shy for some odd
Is
reason.
there because her? No, I think it's headless. Oh man, that would be so messed up. How do you keep your house? You live in a mansion. How do you keep it so close? I used a Ouija board to get all these ghosts in here to keep it cold. What?
How did you not
Is
summon
that a thing?
demon?
Why is it hot in that section? I got confused with the ghost and the demon. My
But
bad.
don't worry.
I sold my
As
soul.
long as you don't.
I sold my soul in that area.
No. That's what you say to them. But don't worry, as it's safe as long as you don't listen to it when it asks you to purchase your soul.
No, it's like I could get you something, but for a price of just one soul. It's like, just like a toddler demon. Please give me your soul, please.
Those are the scary ones.
Yeah.
I know.
You know,
Children
like,
Hell,
are
there are so
scary.
many times when you're a baby, I was about to drop kick you out of the fucking house. Not today, baby goblin. Not today. Can I have a glass
Especially
of water?
in Stardew Valley.
Boo!
you
Have
know,
you
like
heard
in
of
the movie.
Stardew Valley children? They run like so fast right after you. Like
You know, like in the movie Little Nicky,
Yeah.
where the dog lays down sleeping and he starts snoring and it comes out like the sounds of little children.
I'm
I love. That's my favorite scene.
and
Mine
then
too,
just
but-
randomly it goes. I'm gonna go murder you.
You better not do that tonight.
What'd you say
I said you better not do that tonight.
again?
But no,
if I were
that-
going to do
that-
that, I'd do it when I'm asleep. I've
No,
actually like-
I've been starting to listen to a podcast called Scared to Death, and they do all kinds of ghost stories. If anything, later on today we'll do it. It's with Dan Cummings and his wife, and it's really good. And the way they do it, there's this one story where this kid, he was supposed to stay at a friend's house to watch the house. He's basically a house sitting, and all these horrible things started happening to him and everything. And at the last part, he calls the father of his friend, the homeowner, and goes, "Hey, listen, this is happening. Have y'all had any kind of problem?" And the father was like, "Is this some kind of joke? Did so put you up to this? It's like, no, this has been happening. It's like, hey, listen, we knew this was happening and everything. We didn't know. And his friend gets on. It's like, put my friend on the line. Why didn't you tell me this house was like this, man? I'm sorry, man. The demon was gonna pick up one of my brothers or sisters or me, so I had to give him somebody else. Man, what? I'm like,
Well,
okay,
time to burn the house down.
I'm gonna leave, and don't ever freaking talk to me ever again.
No.
But-
Listen, asshole. I'm gonna deal with this demon thing, and when I finally catch it, I'm gonna bring it to you, and then I'm gonna turn it loose on your face.
Yeah. When'd you learn telekinesis? About the same time I sold my soul.
Why not just become youthfully immortal? Though.
No. We're gonna build a Faraday cage, and we're gonna build some really high-powered electromagnets, and then we're going to build a funny-looking doll and put it in the Faraday cage so that the demon thinks it can inhabit the funny-looking little doll, and when it gets in there, we can trap it in the cage.
Actually,
You're talking about maybe, right? That we're just talking. Because it sounds like you've already come with a solution of this. And I feel this plan has already been implemented. Not really sure.
Now, you see, if I had already implemented this plan, then I could say that I have surefire proof that these things exist.
Could you imagine the creepy doll and everything, and then we blow it up, and you just see this like, it's like, where did you get this doll from? Oh, it's one of those cursed dolls. Ha ha, cursed doll. And we blow it up, and you just see like spirits come out of it. What is that? That'd be so messed up.
you know what's kind of creepy?
What?
Like, my mom said that she's like woken up and then she's heard me like.
Is she woke or waking up? There's a big difference nowadays.
She
we don't want no woke people.
she got up and she was awake then, and then she heard me
Okay.
just randomly laughing in my sleep.
What's so bad about that?
Yeah, lots of people do.
All of my kids have done that.
I know, but I just thought it was kind of.
Now,
like,
if you have a whole conversation about world domination like you usually do over here,
I see.
that your mom might have a problem with.
I always thought that, your kid giggling in their sleep just meant that you were doing a good job as a parent because your kids were happy enough that their subconscious was allowing them to laugh while they were asleep.
Either that or the demon side of their bodies actually did something horrible and it's recurring the dream.
Well, Chloe did eat all of my Futurama DVDs.
She ate them?
Those are plastic.
Well, she didn't actually digest
She
them,
chomped them down.
but she chewed on
chewed
them.
on them. Okay.
That's different. That's like
That-
a dog
No,
chewing your shoes.
they don't work anymore. I'm sorry. If the dog chewed on my shoes, the dog ate my shoes. My daughter chewed on my DVDs, she ate my DVDs.
I'm sorry. Okay. Was the baby's crap sparkly afterwards? Because if that was the case, then yeah, I could
No,
see
she was-
plastic.
Then she ate glitter.
Okay.
No. It would basically be the same thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
maybe
yes.
you're right. I can't argue with that. But still. She chewed on the DVDs. Those were expensive DVD set even when they first came out. I'm willing to bet they'd be expensive now.
No, they're probably around about $9.
I mean, you could probably
Now,
just
for the
watch
full
Netflix.
set?
Oh, for the full set.
Yeah.
It was probably around 7 seasons, so you're looking at $70. So
Oh, jeez.
$10 a season, maybe even lower, depending on if you get a good discount on them.
Okay. Not like I want to replace them. Like she said, I can download the whole damn thing and store it on a flash drive easier than I could
Or
with
just
DVDs.
watch Netflix or YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if I want to own something, I want to own it.
Yeah.
which means
You
I'm
just
going to buy
make it
it.
look pretty and spin
Which
it around.
means I'm going to buy it from its. Excuse me, I'm going to buy a copy of it from the person who is legally responsible for selling me a copy of it. Therefore, when I have a copy of it on said flash drive, I'm not liable to any lawsuits in the future.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, okay.
Fair.
Now, the other thing was that just reminds me of space was like stuff like Event Horizon, where they actually made they were trying to do a pinpoint, a wormhole, and they went in, and it was actually a gateway to hell.
Yeah, I'm not sure on all of that one. I mean, I understand the idea.
Could you imagine Space's not the actual cartoon character, but Space Ghosts? Like, I mean, you can't go anywhere, and there's a ghost in your shuttle. You're screwed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And either it's evil, neutral, or good.
I have the
Easily,
firm
right.
belief that it is possible to capture them. So,
Just Ghostbust them.
no, because I think they are
Like,
I think they are
Ghostbusters.
residual
Get a vacuum.
energy signatures, much like I was saying earlier, where you record something on a magnetic tape. I do believe that if you built a Faraday cage and a proper magnetic assembly, you could capture them. Not only capture them, you could store them on a magnetic medium, or even translate them into a digital signal and then store that as a bunch of ones and zeros on a flash drive somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I really need.
Or you could just make a
VHS
fancy vacuum.
movie being real.
You could
The
possibly
Ring.
just make a fancy
Yeah.
vacuum.
Was it The Ring?
Yeah, that was the name of the movie.
Well, they also had one that's called VHS. I think. Well, The Ring was.
A girl
that
coming
one?
out of a TV.
Yeah. Okay,
No, The
okay.
Ring started out with a VHS cassette that if you watched it,
A girl
you
coming
had
out of a
X
TV.
number of days before the girl would come and get you.
Be a good way to die.
I don't know.
Just like when you're an old person, just slide it in there. Just be like, my time's nearly there, so.
I would, if I had to make my choices of ways to go, I can pick 100 better ways than that. Sitting on a mountain of dynamite, smoking an expensive cigar.
No. The new thing is being in a rocket going to outer space because you instantaneously die if you do that.
Or are you talking about when you hit
What about
the
the
Wait,
Viking
no, when it
way?
explodes.
No, that's
You're
more
at
like
ground
a
zero.
funeral
You're like-
thing.
Well, that's also one on my list, but you giant pile of dynamite, smoking a good cigar,
And if you actually do survive, could you imagine the ride afterwards?
riding a malfunctioning rocket to space.
The
Hell,
thing is,
making it to space and running out of oxygen. Because you know what? At least I got to see what the Earth looks like from a perspective that over 90% of the populace has never seen.
I think I know how I want my funeral to go, though. The Viking way. Put me on a boat, set it on fire.
See, I want several things done for my funeral. First, I want enough of my blood taken out and vacuum freeze prepared so that it will last for a very long time. I also want my DNA
Michael
to be-
Pops.
Yeah. I also want my DNA to be completely analyzed, and I want it to be charted out, and I want it to be stored on a 24 karat gold etching. I want that put in my urn, and then I want the rest of my body turned to ashes. I want it poured into the urn along with the sealed sample of blood and the map of my DNA, and then I want that little urn to be sealed up, and I want it to be turned loose in space.
Here, I'm really simple. I just want my body spread across Disney World, and I also don't want to be cremated.
I also kind of
Well-
want to pun on my grave.
See, I figure like this.
I like,
After-
okay. Doing the jokes aside and everything, I do like the tree idea. Are you like your body's put into like a biodegradable little bag thing, and your tree grows up?
Oh, neat.
But I want a pun to be somewhere
No,
involved,
but
like
see, I wasn't
saying,
joking.
"I hope the funeral wasn't
there
too
was
grave."
a reason why I wanted this done. I know I'll probably never be able to afford it, but I'm being serious when I say that's the way I want my body done and then sent off.
Yeah.
Because 100,000 years from now, that little pod with a possibly completely decayed sample of my blood, but a full listed image of my DNA will still be floating around in space out there. And if it encounters intelligent enough life to traverse the distances of space, there's a possibility that they could take that DNA map and make a clone of me. And then even if all of human civilization has completely disappeared, we still have a chance of living on.
Ooh.
Yeah, I really don't see it being a benefit of humanity. But okay.
Maybe like a bunch of people could do that.
They clone a bunch of Michaels.
Oh no! Smells of chaos.
Hey, I never said it was a good idea. I just said it was my idea.
All right, well, I guess that's it for the day, today's episode. Last week we ended up, I had to go pick up my daughter, so we didn't have time for another. It's a long trip up to South Dakota, but we're still on Spotify, also Facebook, Angry Me Productions. Just look it up. And if you come up with a comment, we want to actually name these episodes. So if you come up with a decent name and everything, we'll try to use it and give you props about it. But I'm David Dickerman.
I'm Michael Moffat.
And more Jade Watson Estabrook.
And this is Angry Me Productions. Thank you for watching.